Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Good News and Interviews with Forrest Lee. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have Mac Lowry. Thank you for coming, Mr. Mac.
Yes.
And first thing we'd like to do is, of course, this is Memorial Day, May the 30th, 2022. And let's pause for a moment of silence for those men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice for you and for me. And I'm going to say a quick prayer. Lord, thank you for this beautiful day, and thank you for our friends and family. Please be with those in need. And, of course, we'd like to remember our fallen soldiers who served you in this country. In your son's name, amen. A couple of people that I would like to mention is Ben Gareth Wells. He's buried at Elam Baptist Church near Goshen, Alabama. His son is a fraternity brother of mine, Ben Wells, Benjamin David. He was in the 3rd platoon of the 1st Battalion of the 327th Infantry. And he was a member of the 101st Airborne Division in the United States Army. And he is interned at Goshen, Alabama at Elam Baptist Church. Also, I remember when, as a little boy, I was a football manager to the Goshen Eagles, and Buck Jerd, my first cousin, and Ray W. Floyd, Pork Chop Thomas, and the rest of the gang. But Paul Sims Watkins played for Goshen, and he lost a brother, Joel Keith Watkins, in Vietnam on the 26th day of February 1969. He was in the United States Marine Corps, the 1st Marine Division, 3rd Battalion of the 26th Marines, L Company. And he's buried at Hepzibah Baptist Church on the Henderson Highway. So a special honor to Joel Keith Watkins and Ben Gareth Wells. But Mac, I guess, ladies and gentlemen, I met Mac. I kind of knew of him because Noah,
Yeah.
one of your grandsons,
Right.
and Abby were in the same class.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to know you whenever I started working part-time. We worked part-time together at the Pike County Lake.
Right.
And there were several days that we worked together, and that's kind of when I got to know you a little bit better. And you grew up where, Mr. Mac?
Spring Hill, Alabama.
Who were your parents?
Wallace and Jimmy Lowry.
Wallace and Jimmy Lowry.
Right.
Wait, when were you born? When's your birthday?
December 6, 1938.
So you're about 82, 83? 84?
Well, at least I'm old enough to know that question's illegal.
Okay, so you're 2 score and about 3. No, you're 4 score.
83.
80, you're 4 score and 3. And I am 3 score and 2.
Okay.
Now, your siblings, who are your brothers and sisters?
Well, I was the youngest of 7 boys.
Okay.
There was Jack, Leon, Paul, Fred, Frank, Charles, and me. And we had a sister. She was the baby of the family, Sedenia.
Okay. Now, how many, how many of your siblings are still living?
3,
Okay.
plus myself,
Okay.
and Sedenia.
Okay. Okay. Now, let's see. So you were born in Spring Hill?
No, actually, I was born in Troy,
Okay.
just right past here, where the laundry sits now. That house that they tore down and built the laundry there. I was born in that house. We called it then the end of the pavement. Daddy was farming in the city limits of Troy at that time.
Okay. And it was called what now? The end of the pavement?
Because that's where Grundy Street, the pavement ended.
Okay.
Until they came and paved 231 on past us, you know.
All right. So you were born in Troy.
Right.
And so how long did you live in Troy?
Oh, from December 1938 to about March 1939.
And then y'all moved to
Spring Hill.
Spring Hill.
Right.
So why did your dad move to Spring Hill?
Well, that's an interesting thing, and I talk about that in the book. My granddaddy, Bucking, had owned that property for years.
Bucking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unusual name. Not many of them left. And so Grandmama Bucking got sick with cancer. And of course, the Great Depression hit. The falling farm prices plus the cancer thing, it was just more than Granddaddy Bucking could bear. And so he lost the place to the bank. It's not faulting the bank, you know, that was the way it had to be. And
was that Troy Bank and Trust?
I don't. It was a land bank.
Land bank,
assuming,
okay.
Right? And so after that, several years, Dad he moved the family to Troy as it was then, and started farming here with one of the landowners. And in 1938, a man down at Spring Hill who was a kinsman, Ira Thompson, told Daddy that the land bank was beginning to free up some of those lands and was making them available to farmers to buy.
Okay.
And of course, Daddy was interested. He said the old place was one of those that would be offered. And Daddy asked me, well, what did I do? He says, well, you go and you fill out an application.
This is Mr. Ira Thompson.
Right. And he said, okay, I can do that. But he said, Wallace, there's one other thing now. You've got to have $5 to file that application. And Daddy looked at him and says, Mr. Ira, I don't have $5. Mr. Ira reached in his pocket and gave Daddy $5 to file the application. Wow. And so then he did that, and he was awarded the property. Then he had to build all the buildings and everything. Everything was kind of in chaos. And then in 38, in the spring of 38, he planted the first crop.
And how old were you at this time?
I'm sorry, 39, he planted the first crop. I was about, 4 or 5 months old.
Okay.
Not very old.
But your older brothers, were they helping on the farm?
Oh, yeah. Jack, Leon, and Paul, I know were, and Fred and Frank were coming to the point they could help, you know.
Well, Mr. Mack, which side of Spring Hill are we talking? The left side of the highway or the right side of the highway?
Going south, it will be the left side. When you go over Ballard Hill, there's a road to the left.
Where's Ballard Hill? Between here and Spring Hill?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the pivotal places in the book. I talk a lot about Ballard Hill because
Ballard Hill.
Yeah. Just past Ballard Hill, there's a road to the left.
Okay.
You go out, it takes you to the Bryans and the Reddocks, and it forks a little bit, and you go to the left, and that'll take you right to our farm. We were on the end of the road.
Is that kind of where Ben Cardwell is?
No, now he was on what we call down there the Butter and Egg Road. Okay, that's right past the Baptist Church.
Okay, so you're back this way a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, Ballard Hill.
Yeah.
And was that named after the Ballard family?
Oh yeah. Okay. That's a story within itself.
Okay, well, when you were a little boy, where did y'all go to church?
Spring Hill Baptist Church.
Just down there on the left.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right in the heart of Spring Hill, right by the cemetery.
Okay. So your mother, she took care of the kids and the house? And
right. Mm-hmm. That was pretty much the way it went then. She did all of that, you know.
I haven't read the book, but let me guess. So y'all had pigs, chickens, cows? What all did y'all have as far as farm animals?
The whole 9 yards. We had milk cows. We didn't have beef cows. We raised hogs. Daddy said beef cows is slow money, and he needed fast money. So hogs provided that, you know.
Because they reproduce quicker.
Oh, right.
Multiple litters.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then that would feed y'all, and then it would feed, you'd sell some for... Help carry us through the months, you know, when there was no money. Because farmers got paid once a year, you know, when they harvested and marketed the crop. Now, did you have your own chickens for eggs? You didn't sell chickens, did you? No. But y'all would have enough, you would have chicken every now and then. Oh, every now and then. And, of course, if we saw somebody coming down the road and knew we had company, that's the first thing you do. You go out in the yard and get a chicken, kill it, you know. Okay. Now, so what kind of, y'all had like a big garden,
Oh, yes.
but your mother, not having a freezer probably right off the bat, she did a lot of canning?
Yes, we had a pantry, a big pantry, and that pantry had to be full.
Okay.
And when those vegetables started coming in, Daddy would he would send a couple of us to help Mother,
Yeah, okay.
you know, out of the field because that was important. That would feed us through the winter months, that pantry would.
And Mr. Mack, did y'all have like potatoes? You had potatoes.
Oh,
and y'all
definitely.
kept those in a cool place.
Uh-huh.
I remember my granddaddy, Lewis McLeod in Goshen, he would have his potatoes under the house on like a straw
Right.
bed, but I
Yeah.
think he would put down maybe some sevin dust or something, keep insects out of it, but he would have a raised bed of pine straw or something
Yeah.
that the potatoes would be
Mm-hmm.
cool or whatever.
Right. That's how we did it. But of course, that's Irish potatoes. We would put them under the house, and protect them because we planted a lot of Irish potatoes. I still do that. In fact, Jerry and I just dug our Irish potatoes, and I declare that the ants got about as many of them as we did. And if anybody knows how to keep ants out of Irish potatoes, let me know. Yeah.
Let me ask you this: so, did y'all have a smokehouse?
Definitely. That was one of the houses Daddy had to build when he bought the place. That was a must,
Now he build the lumber off y'all's land, had it cut, or how did he get the
No,
lumber? Do you remember?
he bought there was some old structures. Now the barn was made completely of old lumber, torn down. The old house was torn down, and that was turned into the barn. But the other of it was new lumber. He had to purchase that,
Yes. So, and there was an outhouse.
Oh, definitely. I remember that well.
Yeah, I can remember some of that stuff too. I remember a pot, a porcelain pot.
Uh-huh.
I guess it's porcelain. I don't know what it's made out of, but
Back then it was,
a little white pot with a red ring
Right.
around it, or a blue ring.
Yeah.
So, now your mother's maiden name is
Bucking.
Bucking, and your dad is a Lowry.
Yeah.
Now, how many brothers and sisters did he have?
Oh, goodness. You've asked me something I don't...
Did he have a bunch of them?
There was a lots of them,
Okay.
right? And I think Dad was about the fourth son.
Okay.
And, of course,
Were they from this area?
Coffee County area, the
Okay.
Elba area.
Okay.
Absolutely. Wouldn't that be strange? Him to come from Elba to Troy,
Now, you ken the Coach Lowry that used to be the football coach at Brantley? Now,
No.
he and his son and his other son are coaching at Strawn.
Now that's another set. They came from the Georgiana area, and we're not related.
Well, there was a Lowry kid, I can't remember his name, from Luverne, and I can't remember what his daddy's name, but he was kind of red-headed. Fred Lowry?
One of my brothers is Fred, but obviously that wasn't him.
Okay, this is a young, Fred would probably be 68, 69.
Apparently, he was one of the Georgiana Lowrys.
Okay. But before we take a break, now when you lived in Spring Hill, where did you go to school and where did you graduate from?
Went to Spring Hill for the first 9 years. Graduated in May of 1954, and in September of 54 came to Troy High School, because then certain ones of the county students were bused to Troy.
Okay.
And we were a part of that group.
Now, if you live where you live, where that farm was now, I think you'd be routed toward Pike County High School, but you graduated from Charles Henderson right here?
1957.
1957. I was born in 1959. So 1957.
Okay.
So how many was in your graduating class? Do you remember?
Where, at Spring Hill?
No, at Spring Hill.
Well, there was
Charles
14 of us.
14.
I know that because I got a picture on the wall in my office of the graduating class, and I count them all along to make sure there's all 14
Were you
there.
the valedictorian?
No, I'm sorry, I was not.
You were the top 14. Now, and you graduated, it was Troy High School that you graduated.
Yeah, Troy High School.
And,
later it was changed to Charles Henderson.
Now, how many was in that class? Do you remember?
There was somewhere around 90.
90. That's a pretty good group.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. We're talking to Mac Lowry, and I want to tell you, one of my favorite people I've been around in my entire life. But we're going to take a short break, and we want to thank a couple of sponsors. We want to thank Troy Bank and Trust Company. We want to thank Douglas Brothers, Mr. Shear Qualls. Of course, the American flag. This is a flag that this is a cedar stand, and I got this flag from Walmart, and I want to thank them. We got Bordeaux steak sauce. You can find that at Troy Town and Country. It's also called Southern Grill and Patio. It's in the old Troy Messenger building. They've just moved, but that is natural sauce, steak sauce. Of course, on the far left, we have Flowers Realty. They're a sponsor. Here we got Home Gallery, Mr. David and Sherry Helms. The Home Gallery for all your furnishings that you need. And this one here is Kelly Tires. That's where I do all my tire shopping with Rex and Miss Nell Grant. Of course, we got peanut butter from the Golden Boy. This is Chimney Hot Sauce, Chimney Rock, Take the Plunge. You'll see that in the commercial. And of course, we have peanuts from the Pike County Farmers Co-op located in Goshen and in Troy. You like peanuts?
I sure do.
Do you?
Absolutely.
Well, listen, these have your name on them.
Oh, well, that's great.
It says Hartford Farmers Co-op, but this is, the most current crop. These are raw peanuts and all kind of recipes. And so this is a gift for being on the show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Jerry and I were talking about peanut brittle before it came. So we've got some stuff for peanut brittle here now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back after these messages.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Attention! Attention! PremierTroy.com. We want your trade. We'll buy your car. Whether you purchase a vehicle from us or not, pre-owned car values are at an all-time high. Trade your car for cash or a newer vehicle. It's your choice. Premier wants your car. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody!
Brundage Building Supply and Paint Center at Jackson Hardware. 120 years and counting of real customer service with a smile and a heartfelt thank you for visiting with us. PPE, lumber, paint, building supply and roofing, guns, ammunition, American-made items, and oh, by the way, hardware.
If you've had an accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Now that shows we stand behind our work. And our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did.
We're back with Mac Lowry on Good News and Interviews with Forrest Tree Lee. And he's kind of like me. He grew up in Spring Hill. I grew up in the land of Goshen. It's a wonderful place to,
Amen.
the experience
Yes.
that you had, Mac, and I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. Living and grew up, I grew up on a dirt road. Was yours a dirt road?
Oh, definitely.
He's a dirt road for two dirt road sports. Well, let's, I want to just continue just asking you stuff. So when you graduated high school, what was the next step, Mac?
Well, naturally, there we were just, suddenly we were not high school students anymore. We were graduated and we were on our own. I needed a job because I wanted to go to college. My oldest brother Jack, was in business in Lawton, Oklahoma.
I've been to Lawton.
And we were moving people off the Fort Sill, off and on the Fort Sill.
Okay.
And I guess that was your encounter with Lawton, with Fort Sill.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he had told me, if you finish high school, I'll give you a job. Well, Saturday morning, it dawned on me I didn't have a job and didn't have any prospects, and I better call Jack and see if he meant it.
Yeah.
Well, I called him, and he says, "Are you ready to come to Lawton to go to work?" That was the first thing I said. "Do I have a job?" He said, "Yes." "Didn't I promise you a job?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yes." He said, "Well, come ready to work because that's what it's going to be." And so, I went back to the car and told Mother, I said, "Mother, I got a job, but you got to get me to Lawton, Oklahoma." Of course, I remember Mother crying because I was the last one to leave home, and I think she probably realized at that point we were all gone, and, that was her job in that respect was pretty much finished. But then I caught the Trailways bus with $1.80 in my pocket and a lunch in my hand.
What was the lunch? Do you remember?
It was fried chicken and biscuits, I believe it was.
Fried chicken and biscuits.
Yeah, and of course that's what we did back in them days.
That's when you gnaw the bone, gnaw to the bone.
If you
too.
went somewhere, you packed a lunch and took it with you. I finished that lunch in the bus station in Memphis, Tennessee, about 2:00 the next morning. So, but I left home with that bag and my belongings and $1.80 in my pocket. Of course, I didn't know I was broke. $1.80. Heck, man, that you can do a lot on $1.80. But then I left and went to work. I left here on Sunday afternoon. I didn't get to Lawton until Monday night. The fellow that sold me the ticket gave me the long way around, Mm-hmm. And I got there Monday night, and Tuesday morning I went to work.
And what were y'all doing? What's your brother?
Well, we were. I was working with Oklahoma Van and Storage. We moved people. Is what we did, and mostly at that time of year, it was personnel from the post.
Did y'all move locally or did y'all move long distance?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
So you drove a van or truck?
No, I didn't. I wasn't old enough to.
Okay. You had to be probably 21.
Yeah,
you were like 18.
18, 19.
Okay.
And so I was a grunter. I helped load and unload, is what I did,
Okay. Now after that, what was your next step?
Well, I had Dr. Smart to send my transcript to Troy State Teachers College, and I had to come back home about the 1st of September to get ready for college. And from there I went, I've entered college, and I'll say this, if I had known the first day I went what I was going to go through, I never would have gone to college.
All right, let me ask this. How much money did you come back with from Lawton?
Yeah, I think I had almost $400
really?
that I had saved up. Of course,
wow.
We worked long hours. We didn't get any overtime, but we could work as many hours as we could.
Now, Matt, let me ask you this: your family, like y'all, probably send a little money home to mom and daddy to help.
Oh, definitely. That was always a thing back then. If you was making some money, you'd send mother some money home.
I've got an uncle who's passed away, Uncle Bozo, His name was Manly Lee. But he was the oldest boy. All the boys joined the service, all my daddy's brothers. And he would send money home to help Mama Lee make it through, to feed, and, the rest of the youngest. And then the next brother, he joined. Then the next brother. Then the next brother. And,
it may not have been but $5 or $10, but back then,
that's a lot.
that'd take you a long ways. It would go a long ways, that much money.
So Troy University, what about that experience? What did you do with Troy State?
Well, it was one of those bittersweet things, I did really good in the things that I liked and enjoyed. I didn't do so good in those things that I didn't have any interest in. I'm sorry,
I got you.
I thought I was disciplined, but I found that was a part of me that was not. Right. And I had to work on that. And when I stayed my last quarter in '59, I got all that together. But I got mad with a couple of professors, and I was beginning to not like college. I was really beginning to need to get away for a while. And they wouldn't take me back in their classes, and I'd been in their classes. They'd promised me a place in the next class, and they didn't save me a spot. And so the one that turned me down last, I just took my stuff and I went over to the can and I threw it in the can, and I said, well, I can't say what I said, but,
Adios, amigos.
Something to that
Take
effect.
this book.
But
Okay.
I left and I went over to the student center,
Okay.
and one of my professors, Jack Solomon, saw me and he said, how is? I said, it ain't. I'm finished. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I'm leaving, Mr. Solomon. No, you're not. I said, yes, sir. I'm going. I'm finished. I can't handle this anymore. He said, well, come on, I'm going to pay your tuition. I said, no, it's not that. And I don't have any way to pay you back, and I can't let you do that. I want to get out of college for a while. He said, okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to agree that you can leave if you'll promise me one thing, that you'll come back and finish. I thought a minute. I did want to finish my degree. I said, well, yes, sir, I can promise that. When I get the money to come back and do this right, I'll come back and finish. So that's where I was at Troy,
Okay. All right. Then what was the next step?
Well, I picked that up in the first chapter of the book. That's when I was leaving home. And Charles took me to the Trailway station out on 231. I got on a bus about 11:10 going to Columbus, Georgia.
Charles?
My brother.
Another brother.
To go to work. And the funny thing, Charles loaned me the $5. The bus ticket cost, $3.60, I think.
Okay.
And that left me $1.40 to get by on till I could get a job. And of course, I remember Charles's face. He was quite apprehensive. He'd loaned me that money out of some money he'd saved to buy Faye a Christmas present, his wife. And I was thinking Charles didn't have a lot of confidence that I'd get that money back to him before Christmas. But he was a good sport about it.
Yeah.
He loaned it to me, and I did, though. My brother Jack had sold his part of the business in Oklahoma and had come to Columbus and was in management with Burnham Van Service at that time.
Okay.
And he got me a job. I had worked there the summer before, and had worked some in the billing department. And they were needing a new man in the billing department, and I got that job, $55 a week. And again, in 1960, that was pretty good money.
Pretty good money.
And so I worked there, and it's strange. I always went to church, never was I out of church. But when I went, Jack and Vaughn were not Baptists, they were Presbyterian.
This is your
brother
and his wife?
Wife, yeah.
Okay.
And so I went to church with them a couple of times, but the next Sunday I didn't get ready to go to church. And the next Sunday I didn't get ready to go to church. And so that following Saturday night, Jack came down and says, Mac, you going to church tomorrow? I says, no, I'm not going, Jack. He said, well, you know, there's a Baptist church right up above us here on 54th Street, Northside Baptist Church.
Northside Baptist Church. There you go.
And he says, why don't you go? I said,
This is Jack.
Yeah, my brother. Why don't you go up there? I said, well, I tell you what I'll do. I'll check it out next week and see what about it. He says, well, you know, our neighbors across the street, Leon and Tina Mixon, go there. He's a deacon there. I says, well, I'll just call him. He says, well, there's no need. I've already called them for you.
You're cool.
And they'll be expecting you in their driveway in the morning at 9:30.
There you go. Thank you, Jack. That's I tell you.
So, and my spiritual life took a change for the better there. And make a long story short, I was called into the ministry, and I answered to the ministry while I was a member at Northside. And I left there and went to Mercer University for a couple of quarters.
That's where my mother-in-law went to college. Shirley Cruz Fowler.
Is that right?
Shirley
Well,
Cruz.
that was an experience. I met a lot of good people there, lots of good people, and a couple of professors were really interesting to me. Dear old Dr. Cousins. He loved Robert Burns, and he taught me to love Robert Burns, and Robert Burns is one of my favorite, you know. To a louse, to a mouse, you know. People didn't write about stuff like that. They wrote about kings and queens and knights and chargers and all this, you know, but that was the thing about it. And I did good at Mercer. I really did. I made really good, but I studied real hard. Mm-hmm. I met some good people that I still know today, but it was a disappointment to me simply because I was all fired up about the ministry, you know, and I thought that they didn't do a real good job of covering that. And so I came back to Columbus to work with Burnham's over the summer. They gave me a job over the summer. And it was this time that I met a very special young lady from Smith Station, Alabama.
Well, how did y'all meet?
Well,
what was her name?
Her name was Jerry Herring.
Jerry? I spelled Jerry.
G-E-R-R-I.
Herring. H-E-R-R-I-N-G.
That's it, yeah.
And how did y'all meet, man?
Well, there was a man working in the accounting department that was in charge of a youth group in the Russell Baptist Association.
Okay. This is Russell, Alabama.
Well, Russell County.
Russell County,
yeah.
Alabama.
Yeah,
Okay.
Phoenix City.
Yeah.
And he asked me if I would speak at the youth rally on Saturday night at the Sunderland Baptist Church down on the Fort Mitchell Road.
Okay.
And I said, well, yeah, I'll be happy to do that. And he said, there's going to be a girl to sing.
Okay.
We take voice together, and,
Okay.
and she's really good. I said, well, that'll be fine. And, of course, you know, I don't know if you ever had that experience or not, but we were standing outside talking, and this beautiful young lady walks up, and I looked, and I said, there's my wife. Absolutely. I knew that was the girl I was going to marry. And I'd never heard her talk or anything, you know. I just knew that was it. And a few months later, we were married.
Well, great.
And then I was called to a little Baptist mission in Phoenix City there by the First Baptist Church, Bethany Baptist Mission. It was organized into a church while I was there.
Well,
and that was my first meeting,
was
first
this
pastorate.
During the rough stuff that was going on in Phoenix City?
No, it had
had
already
transpired in the 50s. Okay.
Passed.
Okay. Well, listen, let's take another break. But we're going to take a break, then we'll come back and we'll talk about your boys.
Okay.
And then we'll hit the book real quick, your boys and your girl.
Okay.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back after these messages with Mr. Mac Lowry. We need a break.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Attention! Attention! PremierTroy.com. We want your trade. We'll buy your car. Whether you purchase a vehicle from us or not. Pre-owned car values are at an all-time high. Trade your car for cash or a new vehicle. It's your choice. Premier wants your car. Nobody beats a Premier deal. Nobody!
Brundage Building Supply and Paint Center at Jackson Hardware. 120 years and counting of real customer service with a smile and a heartfelt thank you for visiting with us. PPE, lumber, paint, building supply and roofing, guns, ammunition, American-made items, and oh, by the way, hardware.
If you've had an accident or just want a new look for your vehicle, come see us at Troy Paint and Body, where we do it right the first time. Our staff has more than 100 years combined experience and can handle repairs and paint work on any make or model. We also offer a lifetime guarantee as long as you own your vehicle. Now that shows we stand behind our work. And our 24-hour towing service means we're here when you need us. So come see us at Troy Paint and Body, located on South Brundage Street in Troy beside the post office. Troy Paint and Body, where we may meet by accident, but you'll be glad we did.
A personal touch, a high level of trust. Whether it's checking and savings accounts, personal or business loans, or our local friendly service. That's what Troy Bank and Trust customers expect. But now we offer more. Free identity theft protection for our new and existing customers, protecting your family's time, money, and good name from identity theft. Because protecting your identity is now a big part of our identity.
Welcome back to Good News and Interviews with Forrest Lee. We have Mac Lowry, and we're going to specifically talk about his book titled Spring Hill, 8 miles south of Troy. Nate, if we can pull that up on the screen, the picture of the book. Here's the cover of the book that you see behind us. That's another book by Mr. Tommy Sipper, Chapters of My Life. You can get that on Amazon. Where can you buy this book, Matt?
Well, you can buy it from me, or you can get it on Amazon, or you can order it from westbowpress.com.
Okay, westbowpress.com, or you can get it. How would they contact you, on Facebook or by phone? Or?
Well, probably easier by phone, 334-372-4617.
Okay, and you also get in touch with his boys. Who are your children?
Wally, Carmi, Laurie, and Christopher.
Okay, Laurie lives near Montgomery, right?
Yes, she lives in the Matthews area.
Okay, and how many grandyoungins you got?
Well, now, you know, I just acquired a few more with Carmi and Sonia's wedding, and
that was 3 more, I believe.
Yeah, I think prior to that I had 9. So that'll make about 12, wouldn't it?
And you got some more. You got some great grandchildren now. On her, she's got
absolutely.
I think she's got
absolutely
1 or 2, maybe 3.
Absolutely.
But anyway, so this book, Mac, is you got, let's see, a total of 25 chapters, and it deals with the first 21
years of my life.
Okay. What are some of the highlights that you would say of your book are? What is this book about?
My intent was to take this and show the importance of family, church, school, and the community at large in the life of someone growing up. All these things affect us, and it's for the positive, there's going to be a good result, you know. And that's what this basically is, showing the influence of these institutions in my life as I grew up, and how it affected me.
And it starts with home, and it's church, and then here's the school of Spring Hill. So
Right.
there's the the trilogy, so to speak.
And the community between the creeks.
Okay, between the creeks. You got Big Creek, you got Whitewater Creek, Walnut Creek, so 3 creeks, 3 buildings, his home, his school, and his church. And you've written another book that's been published. It was poems.
Right. I had a volume of poems several years ago that I published, and I'm working on another volume right now,
Okay.
and a sequel to this.
Now, what inspired you to do this, Mac?
You know, it's a funny thing. When I was working out at Lockheed Martin on the security staff, I was the commander of Post 2, or the security guard at Post 2. And one morning, as the people were filing in, and I was there to greet them and make sure they punched and everything, everybody was legal. One of the ladies said, I read your book of poems. I said, oh, well, that's great. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. Why don't you write a book about Spring Hill? I said, now, you know, Spring Hill's such a small place, and writing a book is a big order. I said, I don't know about that. But every now and then she would remind me, are you started on the book at Spring Hill? Have you started? No, I didn't. And finally I did. I said, well, let's just see what happens. And I sat down and started writing. And from that, the outline of the book came to me, and I began to try to develop it.
So how many years did it take you to?
I hate to say that it took 5 years,
Okay.
but now I'm going to be honest. There were times I just quit. I said it can't. It just can't be done. I've got something here that I can't finish. And then Jerry would ask me, "What about the book? What about the book? You've told people you were writing a book. Are you going to tell them a story?" And I said, "No," and I'd go back to writing again. You know, and of course,
so you put it on, you hand wrote.
Oh, I hand wrote.
Yeah.
I hand wrote it, and the problem was Jerry can't read my handwriting. And I started trying to, when I got finished, put it on the computer, and I said, I'll never do this. And so I went down to Deanne, and they typed it for me.
Deanne
at the Up store.
Okay. So you read it as they typed it for you?
No, that girl, her typist went through it, and then I had to take that and take the other and correct hers and give it back to her, and she had to type it again. There's about 3 typings before we got it right. But the next book won't be done that way, I can assure you.
Now, when did you write your book of poems? Can you still buy that?
Well, you can. It was from Mr. Solomon helped me with that, and he was in charge of all of the preliminaries and the technicalities and marketing. And in the middle of it, unfortunately, he passed away. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of dumped it on me, and I had something I didn't know what to do with, you know. Okay. And so I did the best I could with it, which was not very good. Mm-hmm. And it was with another company, Lulu Publishing. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that. I have never been able to communicate with those people. They won't answer phone calls. They won't answer emails. So I don't know. But I'm sure now Blake told me that he and his mother were in Florida somewhere, and they went into the bookstore, and there my book was. The volume of poems was in the bookstore, you know. So yes, it's still out there.
Okay.
It's still out there. And if they really wanted it, if they would contact me, I would make a super effort to contact the publisher and see if we couldn't get some copies.
Okay. Well, if, any more you'd like to add about your book here, or any specific
Well, I'd
story?
just like to thank all the people that helped me with it. I had to do a lot of interviews, and I make mention of some of them in there, and had to do lots of interviews, and people were gracious to do that, and it was a thing that I really enjoyed it, but I'm sorry that it took so long to do the thing, and some of the people that were encouraging it have already passed on and didn't get to see the finished product. But I think the book is a good read, and Dan Smith had something very nice to say about it on Facebook. And
Dan took this picture here.
He did.
There's a picture on the back of the book of you in a suit, and this is in front of what church?
That was taken at the entrance to the Mount Moriah Baptist Church up above Troy here.
And you pastor where now?
Calvary.
Calvary.
That's out on West Orange Street, 118 West Orange Street.
Okay. And when are your services?
10 o'clock on Sunday morning.
10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And hey, Nate, show us some of those pictures that you downloaded of Mr. Mack, if you will. He downloaded some pictures. Is that when you received it, your box?
That was the first shipment. Yeah,
that's right. We pulled that up on Facebook somehow or another.
And you see, I got a mask. I was getting over COVID. All this took place right in the middle of me having COVID.
Let's show that book again there, Nate. It's Mr. Mack Lowry, and you can buy this book, Spring Hill, 8 miles south of Troy. You can contact Mr. Mack at
334-372-4617.
Or you see Carmi, or Wally, or
Christopher,
and your daughter is
Laurie.
Does she have books up there at the? Where does she
No.
work there at the veterinarian with your son-in-law?
Well, yeah, she does. They no longer own that. They sold it to a conglomerate, and she manages it now.
Okay.
But there's one thing I had the book review at Spring Hill.
Okay.
Sunday afternoon, and this past Sunday was a week ago, and it was super good. Mm-hmm. And I have another book review at the Pioneer Museum of Alabama Saturday afternoon.
Up here.
Yeah, beginning at 1 o'clock.
Saturday at 1.
Yeah. And of course the books will be available then, and if you purchase a copy, I'll be happy to autograph it for you.
Well, good. Well, I'm going to buy one tonight, and I want you to sign it.
Okay.
And I've got the checkbook in the truck. And ladies and gentlemen, what? Can we ask how much it costs?
Yeah, the book costs $28.95.
$28.95.
That's tax, title, and everything.
Tax, title, and
Okay.
everything.
Yeah.
Well, Mac, I'm so proud for you that you've got a book, and what you have done, I'm fixing to write me one. I am. You're going to do it. It may take me 5 years, but I've got some stories that I would love to share with people. Some of them are very heartwarming. Some of them are tough.
Yeah.
And Nate's got some pictures, we're going to show here in a little bit, but, it's all predicated around Joe, my dad, and Bonnie, my mother, and some of the trials and tribulations that they had to go through raising 4 kids, and Daddy was a disabled veteran, and that's why the red, white, blue means so much to me, because as a small kid, I can always remember Daddy having problems. And he would be in and out of VA hospital in Tuskegee, Alabama. There's a sign that says the price of freedom is visible here. And Memorial Day, and when I coach football, even on my truck, there's the American flag, because regardless of what, and look at the background, the American flag and the state of Alabama flag. And it just means a lot to me because of my dad, his brothers. Dad was in the Navy, Air Force. My brother's a United States Marine and served in the Army. I was in the Army Guard. And it's all about believing we're in the best country and we can make it better. And it's all predicated on what your book's about.
Right.
Community, church, family, and the people who mold you, your church family, your school family, your brothers, your sisters, your mom, your dad. That's what it's all about. And if you ain't got it, you need to, people don't have what we've had.
Talking about our nation, and I know you got a time
we're
frame
good.
here. Chapter 7 of the book is something. We had German prisoners on our farm in 1945. Chapter 7 is most interesting to see truly what a good nation we have. That was us enacting what we were as Americans to those poor men who were thousands of miles away from home, not knowing the conditions of their families, not knowing anything, having had no contact with them, And, we felt for those people, and Mother and Daddy took them into our table and fed them, They came out with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to eat at lunch. And Daddy said, you can't work for me on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And so they agreed that they would come in and let Mother fix them a meal. And from then till the peanuts were gathered, they ate at our table every day.
Now, did they get dropped off every day, or how did that work?
No, Daddy had to go pick them up and bring them back. Didn't have any guards,
Yeah, where did you pick them up at?
Yeah, the old camp was located on North 3 Notch Street, right out there near where the freezer is located now.
Okay.
Out that
Wow.
area.
See, I can remember Mother and Granddaddy. Mother wasn't, she was born in 35, but I can remember her talking about blonde, blue eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some around the Goshen area.
And there was one of ours that way, Paul. We had 5. I could remember 4 names, but I could not come up with that 5th name. There was Paul, and there was Albert, and there was Hans, and there was Fred. I remember them, but there was one other which I could not remember. Right. And but the 7th chapter is indicative of what a wonderful nation we have.
Yeah. Well, Mac, I want to thank you for coming. And again, ladies and gentlemen, you can get in touch with Mr. Mack or one of his sons or daughter. And again, the phone number is 372-4617. And you can get him at the Pike County Lake on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
That's right.
That's right. And that's a wonderful place to go fishing, picnicking. It's just a wonderful place out there that the city of Troy has built and maintained. We just need some road work done.
If you hadn't been out there, you should go and see it. It's nothing like it was. It is a beautiful place to come and fish, to have a picnic. We have picnic tables. Doesn't cost anything for picnicking.
Yeah, they got some rockers you can rock on.
And you can sit on the porch and rock.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Well, I tell you what, Jack, I'm just going to keep you on the show unless you need to go.
I don't have to go.
Just a few more minutes, but there's a couple things I want to mention. Is the family. Let's see if I can pull it up on my book. I want to mention someone who passed away recently, and I talked with Steve Haig. He's survived by his wife, with Susan Annette Haug, his daughter Christine, and her husband David. He's got siblings, and I believe but anyhow, Steve Haug, a longtime teacher and coach for Troy City Schools, passed away recently. His funeral is Thursday, June the 2nd at 3 p.m. at Park Memorial United Methodist Church, with the Reverend Danny Arnold officiating and Diller Funeral Home of Troy directing. So our heartfelt condolences to Steve's family. Another thing I'd like to mention is, on a brighter note, Hugh Fountain has been hired as the new head coach at Pike Liberal Arts. He'll be the new head coach and athletic director. Rush Hickson, I believe, will be the assistant athletic director and will continue as the head baseball coach. While he was at Escambia Academy, he was 94-31 had 2 state championships. At Charles Henderson, he had 106 victories and 67 defeats. He's a native of Bruton. His wife is Susan. He's got 3 children, Hannah, HT, and Troy. Susan has a beautiful daughter, Locklear. They call her Lock. HT, I believe, is at University of Alabama at Birmingham doing football with that as a graduate assistant up there. And Troy is playing football somewhere in the Midwest. But Hugh is a graduate of W.S. Neal. They're in Bruton, and he was 49 and 29 in Bruton. So the city of Troy will be getting Hugh Fountain back.
Good.
That's wonderful, and recently he has been ordained as a minister, and you couldn't ask for a better person and family to come back to Troy to help Pike Liberal Arts in their endeavors as they go up to the Alabama High School Athletic Association. And so congratulations to Hugh. And Nate, if you can, go through some of those pictures, if you don't mind. While he's doing that, chimney sauces, we've already mentioned them on the show. That's a picture of my dad, Joe Clements Lee from Luverne, Alabama. That's why he was in the United States Navy. He later served in the United States Air Force. That's Joe. And the next picture we have that's me and Claude Giddens dressed up as the Blues Brothers. He's a good friend of mine. We were in LaGrange, Georgia. His son, Zach, got married to a beautiful girl, and Zach's office coordinator at Callaway High School in LaGrange, Georgia. That's some of the Luverne Tigers you see there. At the top is Menifee Fuller. That's some of the Luverne. I wish we could bring that in. That's a close-up.
That was back before.
That was in the 50s. Yeah.
Face cages.
Yeah. There's some sports on that picture. Go to the next one, and that's me at the Chicken Shack. Oh, let's go to the Chicken Shack. If Jody hadn't put on that pot roast or that tenderloin, we're going to the Chicken Shack. Number 1, that's right. There's Dan Smith. That's in my office at Charles Henderson Middle School. That's me as a catcher. That actually is a left-handed catcher's mitt. And Dan's bat, we just posed for a little bit of a picture. And he and I are fraternity brothers, by the way. Daniel Keith Smith, I believe is his name. Daniel K. The next picture, that's Hugh Fountain and myself. I'm holding up a sun drop. That's years ago, because when I was at Charles Henderson Middle School, Hugh was the head coach at Charles Henderson. Mm-hmm. But Hugh came a year before I got here, and I was hired by Hank Jones. David Hems was the assistant principal, and Mike Hall was the principal at Charles Henderson at the time. But next picture we have that's Abby Lee, and myself. That was when I was still in the National Guard. She's 22 now, just like Noah.
Okay.
And, next picture that's Jody and I about a year ago. That was on the beach. Her maiden name is Fowler from Manchester, Georgia, Raleigh. And we're back with Mac. And Mac, it's been a pleasure. We got about another minute or two. But again, today is Memorial Day. And I can only imagine, some of the families, of their loss. And, but I want to thank those fallen soldiers.
Yes, amen.
And I'd like to thank the police officers and first responders and the nurses and doctors for what they do on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
If Mac, is anything you'd like to add? We have about another minute.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know of anything I can add that hadn't talked about much, but I'll be doing another book one of these days, and another book of poems, and I'll come back and talk with you about those. All right? Okay.
And then I'll share what I've done about my book. I've got to figure out what the title. Did you get the title first, or you just wrote? You knew what the title was?
No, I knew I was going to write about Spring Hill, but that was the hardest thing, coming up with a title.
And your artwork is done by Wally.
Yeah, right.
And what is his name? What is his real name?
John Wallace.
John Wallace.
Named for his 2 grandfathers.
Okay, great. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank Nate Braystead in the booth. Thank you, Troy Cable and C-Spire. And thank you for joining us. And you can see the replay on Wednesday nights at 9 o'clock at night, 9 till 10. And if you are interested in being a sponsor or being on the show, you can call me at 268-0738, and we'll be